The following broadcast is a Nighthawk Network presentation. What's going on, y'all? E-Buck in the building, ready to talk to y'all on this new edition of the I Am Nighthawk podcast. Thank you for those of you tuning in, either by the Facebook, the IG, which you can now find us on live at E Nighthawk. That's ENIGHT, HAWK. And then, of course, as always, on my YouTube channel, which is Eric Buckner, Nighthawk Network Detroit. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully, you are having a good week and are off to a good start in your year. Me personally, it's some good and some bad. Definitely better than this time last year. Because if this was this time last year, I was in the hospital. So the fact that I'm not and I'm doing better for the most part health-wise, good do. That being said, what we talking about tonight, y'all? Tonight, it's the grab bag edition. For those of you not familiar with my grab bag edition, that's when we take the Young Crown Royal bag and we fill it full of topics, and we pull the topics out, and we spend a few minutes talking about each one because that way we cover a lot of ground in a short period of time. So for the next 5 minutes or an hour, let's kick it. Let's talk about a few things, and if y'all have some subjects to put in the grab bag that y'all want to talk about right briefly, feel free to add your 2 cents into it as well if you are checking this out live right now. Thank you, everyone, as always, for your support in this endeavor. And without further ado, it's time to dig in the bag and see what subject we're going to talk about first. All right. This one says we're going to start out by talking about punk A parents. Punk A parents, in particular, a particular set of punk A parents. That would be the parents of the Oxford High School shooter, Mrs. and Mr. Crumbly, who at this point are still in jail waiting for trial. Now, the mother of said punk A kid, the punk A parent, she is now in the process of getting a jury pool for her trial later on this month. Now, as you know, these two parents are on trial because they are being considered as people who contributed to the mass shooter's actions and motives that led him to kill innocent people that fateful day at Oxford High School. Now, as I have attested to all along, I feel like not only should they be on trial, but they both should be convicted based on what we know at the moment. We still don't have every last detail, but from the details we do know, how they bought him the gun, how they interacted with him, how he basically asked them to go get help and they both declined, how they were told to take him from the school that fateful day and chose not to take him and left him there with the gun on his person for him to do what he eventually did. For those reasons and several others where they failed that young man, I feel they should be in prison for the rest of their natural lives, just as their son is at the moment. Even though he is appealing his life without parole sentence, I find it crazy. Understand, yeah, he just turned 18 or about to turn 18, and the rest of his life could be 50, 60, 70 years. I get all that. But remember, he has taken away 4 people that no longer exist in this world, and there's no way to ever bring them back. So I'm sure there's some people that feel like he should not be here either right now. But of course, as most of the country no longer deals with the death penalty and things of that nature, we have to ride that out for what it is. But yeah, these parents were not responsible. They were supposed to turn themselves in, and they ran from even that to show just how irresponsible these PA punks, these punk A parents were. I have no sympathy for them. I don't see one being more not guilty than the other. Keep in mind, they both have chosen to get tried separately in the event that that would get one of them or both of them a better trial. I don't think they're going to get life in prison. I don't even think they're eligible for life in prison, but I hope they are there long enough to, by the time they get out, they are very, very, very old and gray, and they serve no purpose but to go to the home and eat some Jello pudding or whatnot. They are just as much to blame, and I'm also hoping that in having them tried and convicted, that this will definitely have more parents who need to really be checking on their children in regards to what the Smurf they doing, to go ahead and double check some things before that child goes to school with weapons of mass destruction, causing life problems that we will never be able to recover from. We don't need no more Evolve days, Oxford Highs, or any more other school shootings if we can possibly help that. So yeah, that's my thought on the punk A parents. All right, that was grab bag item number 1. If you have any comments on that, either now or after the fact, feel free to put them in the comments. And if I don't respond to them tonight, we of course will respond to them after the fact, as we like to do. All right, we're digging back in the bag, people. What is the next subject in this grab bag edition of I Am Nighthawk podcast? We got, you know what? Redo. Not ready to talk about that one yet. All right, let's try it again. We come out with, all right, let's talk about celebrity stalkers. Celebrity stalkers. For those of you that keep up with that type of thing, recently, according to TMZ and a couple other outlets, a celebrity stalker was caught yesterday, or it actually was the day before yesterday. This was a celebrity stalker of one Taylor Swift. Now, before y'all say, oh, Lord, he talking about her, I know some of y'all are very tired of talking about her. I see Pride is tuning in right now. Sorry, Pride, but got to go here for me. This celebrity stalker is a problematic one in particular because not only was he caught stalking Taylor on Sunday, this was a multiple time offender, okay? Someone that has been caught numerous times on her property in places where he's not supposed to be. From my understanding, there is some type of restraining order against this person, and yet he's still finding himself in her presence, in her universe, in a way that he is not wanting. Okay, and this is one of several people in the last year who has been prosecuted for whatever reason for stalking certain celebrities. I mean, it's not just female celebrities either. There are male celebrities that are being stalked for whatever reason. This is getting out of hand because oftentimes these stalkers are getting caught, they're getting taken into custody, and they're being released back out in their own recognizance, and they become problems again. In some cases, if not here across the world, there are some people who have stalked celebrities and have come to cause that celebrity harm, killed celebrities even. This is crazy, okay? I understand that some people, we really like who we like. You know, there are the fans of people like The Rock and Michael B. Jordan, people like Cardi B, and, you know, name your favorite Hollywood actress here, Megan Good, Halle Berry, whoever the case may be. And it's okay to be fans of them. That comes as part of the job. But when it comes to a point where you can't find yourself literally able to leave them alone, where you basically quit your job, stop dealing with your family, take off from work to go find out where that person is and follow their every move like you own them, like you really, really, really got to be with them to death do y'all part. When you mentally messed up like that about a celebrity, that's not a good thing. That's a very bad thing. And if you're out there right now and you feel like that about your favorite celebrity, whoever they may be, get help. Seriously. All joking aside, get help. Nobody, no matter what amount of fame, no amount of money they make, deserve that. The fact that these celebrities have to walk around with all type of security detail, I mean, seriously, for fear of their actual life, for fear that somebody might try to kidnap their children or kidnap family members. The fact that certain people are related to celebrities and they don't want anybody to know, for fear that you might get harmed because you're trying to get to them. Okay? That's a bad dude. That's a very bad dude. So yeah, actually TMZ has a documentary that they did about that last night on Fox. You can find that documentary, I do believe, on Hulu or Tubi now. Matter of fact, let's look it up for you right now so I can tell you exactly what to look up. One moment, please, as we do this live on the air. Granted, that's not so good, but it's a podcast and it's mine, so I can do what I want. How about that? All right. Looking up TMZ documentary. Excuse me, people. All right, let's see. All right, we looked that up, and it takes us to TMZ documentary, and there's 30 results. Let me find the right one we're looking for. Because keep in mind, there are several TMZ investigates documentaries, and a lot of them are pretty good, actually. If you have some time you want to kill and you like documentaries, that is definitely one I would highly suggest to check out. I can't find it at the moment, but I do believe it is here on TMZ. I imagine you could actually go to YouTube and look it up as well. TMZ documentary about celebrity stalkers. Hugh says, bless you. Thank you, Hugh. Appreciate that. Seeing that I was struggling with that sneeze just then. Okay, so anyway, that's that subject. Let's move on to the next one. Back to go in the grab bag. So far, we have talked about the punk appearance of the Oxford High School shooter and celebrity stalkers. Let's see what else we got in said grab bag tonight, y'all. Again, this is the grab bag edition of the I Am Nighthawk podcast. And we have pulled out the subject, Cat Williams. Yes, Cat Williams, y'all. We're going to talk about that. I understand I ain't the only one talking about Cat Williams. Everybody has been talking about the interview heard around the world. The Cat Williams interview on the Club Shay Shay show that was done weeks ago, that basically where Cat set it off, where basically Cat had his Tupac hit him up moment, where he basically cleared the air about several people that he felt some type of way about what was said, in particular on Club Shay Shay. Understand that's how the conversation started, with him discussing certain people that had been on the show and some of the things they had to say in regards to something he was related to or him in particular. And he put it out there. Now, based on how he put it out there, because again, he had many of these receipts to show, okay, this is what it is, not what they said. And of course, since that time, a lot of people have done their share of fact checking on the internet. They have come up with old clips of some of the things he talked about in terms of joke stealing and that. He was saying he definitely ethered the comedy industry, at least the black comedy industry. And I'll get into that in a second. But yeah, he had several things there about several of them, and there are people that have looked at the receipts, and for the most part, we have learned that most of what Cat said seemed to be right on the money. Seemed like no lies detected. And most people very much appreciate what Cat had to say in regards to some of that. But I definitely need people not to be lost on some of the good that has also come from the things that Cat did not talk about, but was brought up in that interview by Uncle Shay Shay. Yeah, he was saying Cat has been pretty accurate. Remember, one of the things that Shannon brought up is some of the charitable acts of Cat Williams and what he has done for people in the past that we probably did not know about, most of us. And since that time, a lot of those people have come out of the woodwork and talk about some of the things that Cat has done for their career or for them personally in regards to financial help, in regards to helping them book shows or whatnot. Even since that time, we know that he has taken on the ex-wife of one of his rivals, Mr. Kevin Hart, and has put her on tour with him. Now, let me point out that, yeah, it does seem like Cat and Kevin have issue with each other, particularly when he calls Kevin an industry plant and the Illuminati and all of that. But keep in mind, they both kind of mess with each other at the same time, okay? For example, there is the Laugh Out Loud station on Sirius XM. If you are a fan of that and listen to it often, you will note that several times a day, the comedy stylings of one Cat Williams comes on that show. Now, do know, if Kevin and Smurf with you like that, I'm pretty sure he would not approve of them putting Cat Williams clips on his airways. I mean, granted, Sirius XM's airways, but it is his station under his name. So I imagine he does have some say-so about it. Also understand that if Cat didn't really smurf with Kevin like that, that he probably would have put in several lawsuits and injunctions and whatnot, like, I don't want my stuff on there, baby. Get him and get my stuff off of Laugh Out Loud. I don't smurf with Lil Kevin. I don't smurf with him. That has not been the case either. Because again, it plays on there several times a day. If he didn't really smurf with Kevin Hart, why would he go as far as to help out his ex-wife in terms of her comedy? And understand, she is funny. She is funny. She's not Kevin Hart funny. She's definitely not Cat Williams funny. But she is funny. She is a comedian that is often on a show known as Quake's House, which of course is also on that same station that I talked about, Laugh Out Loud Radio. He was saying that when they pay him to come to shows, that Cat was paying them some of the money he made out of pocket to help some of the struggling comedians, and he's still doing that. There are several comedians who have co-signed on that. People like Corey Holcomb, people like Lunell, people like Red Grant. There have been several people who have come to the defense of Cat Williams and talked about how good he has been to them. People who have reached out. I mean, people like Gary Owen, who has said something. And understand that Cat Williams has not only helped out people that look like him, but also people that are non-pigmented as well, non-melanated, if you will. He has helped several comedians. He's not only just helped comedians. They talked about on the show, for example, how he alone helped to pay for the star on a Walk of Fame of one Melba Moore, somebody that he didn't have a personal relationship with. He just felt like it was right that she had her star on the Walk of Fame. So he helped to make it happen. And apparently he's been doing that type of stuff for years. There's one comedian who talked about how, actually there was a rapper that they talked about how he was on tour with Cat or hung out with Cat, and Cat took him to a neighborhood and was just basically passing out money door to door to people in the neighborhood. And I'm talking about a neighborhood. I'm not talking about nothing fancy. I'm talking about basic neighborhood A. There is somebody who, matter of fact, the comedian Godfrey talked about how he barely knew Cat, but he also one day was like, would you like to go to a Hollywood party? And took him to the Hollywood party and introduced him to some of the biggest people in Hollywood. And they knew Cat by name. So, yeah, there are just so many good stories that have come out of this whole Cat Williams thing. That's why it is the story who keeps giving it. I want to personally thank Cat Williams for bringing all this to the forefront. He has opened up a whole Pandora's box of things to talk about, of people who normally don't have much to say, who have had a lot to say. He was saying, come on, E. You know that Gary Owen can get invited to any black barbecue? Facts. I definitely would invite Gary Owen to my barbecue. And yes, it's Owen, not Owens. He does talk about that often on his own podcast. We want to select him in the 2025 racial draft about Gary Owen. But yeah, speaking of podcasts, I think that's another good thing that's come from this interview. There are a lot of podcasters who are either fans of Cat Williams or people that know Cat Williams, people that have worked with Cat Williams, and they have podcasts and they have come out now with their Cat Williams stories, because right now the name Cat Williams is clickbait. I'm sure tonight if I would have put Cat Williams is one of the topics on my Facebook page. At least 10 or 20 more people that normally would not watch my podcast probably would tune in just to see what I would have to say about Cat Williams. It'd be nice if I had a personal story about Cat Williams, good, bad, or otherwise. But I do not. I do want to say, though, that he did help me in a couple difficult times in my life indirectly. For example, there is one of his first specials, I believe it's the one he did in Atlanta. No, actually, it's the one he did in Washington, D.C., where he talks about taking care of your star player, which was basically his comedic way of talking about how you need to look out for yourself and make sure that you are good in all things, both mentally, physically, and whatnot. And I took that to heart during a time where I was feeling very depressed and was not doing a good job of taking care of myself. And, it was very funny, but as I sat down and thought about the real meaning of what was being said, it made me think and it made me kind of contend with things a little better. And then, of course, there's other times where, because I am the Nighthawk and oftentimes I'm up in the middle of the night with nothing better to do but watch YouTube and TV and whatnot. Cat Williams has definitely gotten through a few of those nights as well, where I'm feeling kind of down and whatnot, and watching some of his comedy specials just put me at ease and help me relax and all of that. So I thank him for that. I also thank him for shedding a light on a lot of the younger comedians that were discussed in the original Cat Williams interview. And a lot of people are starting to discover those people more. The Country Waynes, who has actually been the next guest of Club Shay Shay since that time. The Just Hilariouses and whatnot of the world. And speaking of Just Hilarious, one of the stories that's out there is the fact that the Breakfast Club finally offered her a contract to be one of the members of the Breakfast Club, and it was not up to snuff, so she declined it. And it was said that Charlamagne was like, I ain't know they did her like that. Uncle Charlotte, with all due respect, you know what it was. Because I promise you, they was trying to pay her as much as y'all or more than y'all. You definitely would have known that and felt some type of way. Maybe it was that, and that's why you felt some type of way. She was definitely the yin to y'all yang. She was the perfect person to put on the show. As y'all was interviewing and auditioning people, it just kind of came naturally that she kind of fit in with y'all in a way that nobody, not even Angela Yee herself, did in terms of that show. And I find it very unfortunate that that was not something that you guys could work out. If I had a second or third choice, I would say the young lady that was part of TMZ, the young sister, I can't think of her name at the moment. She definitely will probably be a good replacement, not as good as Jess, but a good replacement because she seemed to have some type of rapport with you guys. Or truthfully, I wasn't mad when y'all had Miss Pat on there doing the show, because she kind of brought a whole different little flavor to what y'all had to say every day. So if y'all would have had her be though, although I'm pretty sure Miss Pat pretty booked these days, so y'all probably would have had a hard time signing her up too. So if y'all couldn't make that work out with Jess, my guess would be y'all should just be better off just kind of having people come guest host from time to time. You know, the Jason Lees and all those types of folks. Have Boosie on there a couple times a year. He is hilarious when he is on there, okay? Boosie is one of the better interviews any podcast could have, because some of the stuff Boosie says is outlandish. And the fact that you guys wanted to set him up to have his own podcast, I hope y'all can find a way to make that happen, because Boosie a mess. But yeah, I'm sorry that did not work out with y'all and Jess. Sad. Anyway, that's it for that subject. We about to move on. Matter of fact, before we do that, I think we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come on back to the show, we're going to continue on with the grab bag to see what else we're going to talk about this evening on the I Am Nighthawk podcast, the show that talks about the things I think about late at night while y'all sleep. In the meanwhile, we about to hit this commercial break on these messages. After these messages, I'll be back.
Radio on Blog Talk Radio or where most great music podcasts are located. Don't forget to subscribe and show some love.
What's going on, y'all? I am back. This is the I Am Nighthawk podcast. We are talking stuff that I have put in my grab bag. This is a grab bag edition of the I Am Nighthawk podcast. We have put several subjects in here to talk about. We are grabbing them out the bag one by one and talking about them on the show. The next item up for bids is election-ish, as I have put on here. Actually, I put the actual word, but y'all know I try not to use too much profanity on the air. So election-ish it is. As you know, tonight, it is the New Hampshire primary as we are starting to get deeper into the election cycle. Yes, like it or not, people that don't like to talk about election stuff, it's time to get serious about election stuff. Because it is 2024, that means at some point in November, early on that Tuesday, we're going to have to decide who is going to be the next president of the United States. And as things are playing out at the moment, it looks like we're going to have the same two choices that we had 4 years ago. Are y'all ready for the madness? Are y'all ready to be bombarded with the campaign ads and all of that stuff for them? If not, get ready because it's on the way. And of course, I will say, first of all, we need to be more concerned about who is going to be running the Congress because that is the real problem if you really want to talk about it. The Congress that is basically passing very few bills of pertinence this time around, that every time a couple months come up and we're trying to fund the government, we get another partial bill as opposed to doing what we need to do to get it running for a whole year or two. The fact that it's always based on, okay, well, we don't want you to give money to this and we want you to put more money on that. And if it's not that, it's always some other reason or rationale or BS as to why they can't bring enough people to sign the bill. I'm tired of that crap. I'm tired of the fact that most of the people in Congress is old in their own right. While we talking about these two old people running for president, the average person in Congress is 55, 60 years old, their damn self. Particularly when we talk about the Senate, where some of them people have been in the Senate for 20, 30, 40 years with the same BS they've been trying to pass since the 80s and 70s. The world has changed so much in 50 years, okay? Trust me, I know. I've been here for it. I live in the same house that right here where I'm looking at used to be a phone jack right here with an actual landline phone that don't exist in this house anymore. But in the same token, I got two of these dumb boys right here. And they do stuff that other phone only wish it could have did. And that wasn't even half of 50 years. That's just 25 years ago. So imagine if you have been elected to Congress since the 80s or early 90s and you still trying to pass and do the law the same way 30 years later with all this AI technology and computer systems and countries that didn't exist back then that do now and so on and so forth. Don't you think at some point it's time to start making some real changes to have more people that can relate to what's actually going on today? Hell, the actual member of the United States, the average age of somebody in the United States is like 35, but yet the average person running the country is 20 to 30 years older than that. Don't y'all see that being somewhat problematic? I do. As an older person, I did. But okay, we already know they've been had so many polls in regards to who do you want to be president? should these people run for president? We mostly agree as a nation that if it was put to a test, we don't want either the current president or the former president to be president. But yet we are setting ourselves up to where that's exactly the choices that we are going to have. Now, granted, we done looked at the other candidates in the Republican Party, and a lot of them wasn't really talking about much or nothing, especially since most of them were scared to talk bad about young DT. So, of course, because you didn't have the paylotas to say nothing wrong about him, it was rather easy for him to pick y'all up one by one. And if you notice, in the last couple of weeks between the Iowa caucuses and a couple weeks before, one by one, they've been like, I'm out. Nope, I can't do it. Nope, I can't do it, which is bad enough. But then most of them turn around and be like, but I'm with DT. Since it can't be me, I'm cool with DT being it. Don't y'all see a problem with that? There was all type of, you need to come on to the stage and talk to us at some of these doggone debates. If I'm him, I'm smart. I'm like, why do I need to go to debate? I can just talk on my little rallies, and they love me. Ain't no sense of going to the debate. You didn't call me on my BS, and I had to explain myself. Oh, no. Not that. Anything but that. So why be bothered? So, yeah, I'm not mad that he ain't debating nobody. You ain't really forcing him to. That being said, it's already been announced that he probably has won the New Hampshire primary as well. So now the clock ticks as to, okay, when does not Haley Bailey, oh Lord, that's a whole nother person. Nikki Haley, that's again another person. Decide that she is ready to go ahead and tap out with everybody else. And more than likely, like everybody else, endorse the former president against the current president. Anyway, we'll see how that all plays out in real time. The question is, do we, out of the blue, some type of miracle, find somebody that says, yeah, actually, I don't want either one of these people in our run. And it's actually somebody who would be like, okay, I could get with that. I'd actually vote for you, Democrat or Republican, because it would take somebody along those lines to make that happen. Who could be that somebody? You know, we throw the other names in the cycle, the usual people that come up in that, the Oprahs, the Michelle Obamas of the world. But here's a name that has not come up much, but look for it to start popping up more often in the next 4 to 8 years. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He has announced in the past that he would consider running for president later on in life. Later on might be sooner than later. Right now, no, I wouldn't say it'd be good for him to do it right now. He got so much going on. It's better for him to play out his hand right now. He's doing great out here. But in the next 8 to 10 years, I could see it. Based on what I know of him and what he's done, he definitely would get my vote, whether he was the Democratic or the Republican nominee. For real, for real. But anyway, that's another problem. In the meanwhile, like we stuck with these two, and I ain't ready. And I know y'all ain't ready. Despite that, when it comes time to vote, I still say you need to vote, and we'll get into that conversation later on down the line. So that's enough of that election-ish. What else we got, people? What else do we need to talk about? The grab bag getting kind of thin now. We're going through these subjects pretty quickly because there ain't no comments, so I'm just talking it out. All right, next we got this one. Okay. As you know, we've been talking a lot about AI subjects, artificial intelligence, and some of the nuances thereof, some of the newer applications that they would like to do, because we want to paint AI in a good light when we can. I know a lot of people look at it as like it's this evil demon of a computer system that's eventually going to take over the world. And for all we know, it may be that may happen. But in the meanwhile, there are a lot of good things that we can apply artificial intelligence to. A lot of interesting things. So this one actually came up a week or so ago on my radar, and I wanted to discuss it with you guys. So I actually have a video for you to check out. We're gonna check out a few minutes of it. It ain't a long video, but I don't want to go through the whole thing. And then we'll discuss, okay? Check this one out, y'all.
Or what you'd chat about with your dog or maybe a horse. Well, you might be able to find out soon. But then again, you might be thinking, why the heck would I want to talk to animals? There are many reasons. For starters, animals are just super interesting, right? We can learn so much from them. They see the world in different ways, feel different emotions, have their own unique cultures, and even have different forms of intelligence. So how can AI help us achieve this dream of talking to animals? Well, there are two main ways. One is by using AI to analyze animal sounds and behaviors, and the other is by using AI to generate animal sounds and behaviors. Let's start with the first one, using AI to analyze animal sounds and behaviors. This is where we use AI to decode the meaning behind the noises and gestures that animals make. For example, you might have heard of the famous Coco the gorilla, who learned sign language and communicated with humans. She was able to express her thoughts and feelings, and even make jokes and lie. She was an extraordinary example of interspecies communication. But what if we could do that with any animal, without having to teach them sign language? What if we could just use a device that could translate their sounds and behaviors into human language and vice versa? Well, that's exactly what some researchers are trying to do. One of them is Kon Slobodchikov, a professor emeritus of biology at Northern Arizona University. He has been studying prairie dogs for over 30 years, and he has discovered that they have a very sophisticated language system. Prairie dogs can make different sounds for different predators, such as hawks, coyotes, or humans. They can also describe the size, shape, color, and speed of the predators. They can even communicate about abstract concepts, such as time and space. Slobodchikov has developed an AI system that can translate prairie dog sounds into English words. He calls it the Prairie Dog Translator. He hopes that this technology can help humans understand prairie dogs better and prevent them from being exterminated by farmers who see them as pests. Another researcher who is working on animal communication is Denise Hertzing, the founder of the Wild Dolphin Project. She has been studying dolphins for over 35 years, and she has observed that they have a complex social structure and culture. Dolphins can make different sounds for different objects, actions, and individuals. They can also use body language and echolocation to communicate. Hertzing has developed an AI system that can translate dolphin sounds into English words. She calls it CHAT, which stands for Cetacean Hearing and Telemetry. She hopes that this technology can help humans interact with dolphins in a more natural way and learn from their intelligence and creativity. These are just two examples of how AI can help us analyze animal sounds and behaviors. There are many more projects going on around the world that aim to do the same thing with other animals, such as elephants, whales, dogs, cats, and even plants. But what about the second way, using AI to generate animal sounds and behaviors? This is where we use AI to create synthetic noises and gestures that animals can understand. For example, you might have seen some videos of people using apps or devices that can imitate animal sounds, such as bird calls or wolf howls, and get responses from real animals. This is a fun way of interacting with wildlife, but what if we could do more than just imitate? You know, it's really fascinating to think about it. What would happen if we were indeed capable of generating new sounds and behaviors that convey our intentions and emotions to animals? Just imagine that for a moment. Interestingly enough, there are some dedicated individuals in the scientific community who are actually striving to make this very concept a reality. One such individual is none other than David Hansen, the creative mind who established Hansen Robotics. He has created a robot called Sophia, who is...
All right, I don't want to get too deep into the Sophia thing. That's a whole nother subject. But anyway, you kind of get where I'm going. So, yeah, what do you think, people? They are developing AI for talking to the animals. Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing? It's obviously a good thing. I mean, understand how much more we could learn about our earth, our world, if we could effectively talk to the animals. Now, of course, you get some idea how that would work to a great degree if you look at some of the Dr. Doolittle movies and whatnot. either the originals or But think about, okay, say you are a pet owner and you got the dog and the cat, and you can sit there and communicate with them in a way to where you don't have to be concerned about them tearing up your house or wondering if they don't feel well or if they're hungry. If you basically can have an app on your phone, much like that text to translate app that a lot of people have, and be like, okay, Rufus, are you hungry? And you put it there, and then he whoop, 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 be like, yes, Daddy, I'm hungry. I want biscuits, and you can talk to him that way. Or basically the cat like, yeah, cat, Scruffy, did you pee on my bed? And be like, yeah, I peed on your bed. I'm mad at you. You didn't play with my toy and whatever. And you could talk to your animal that way and have an understanding to where you could actually truly enjoy your pet to the fullest extent because you now understand what it wants and it understands what you want. I mean, I definitely would sign up for being a pet owner if I knew that when I left my pet at home by itself, that it wasn't gonna tear up my house and it had food and they knew where to get it. And if it had a problem, it could somehow contact me and be like, Daddy, somebody's at the door, or something like that. That would be awesome. Conversely, let's talk about some of the wild animals. You know how we live in this part of Detroit where there's squirrels, but there's also possums and raccoons. And we could somehow be like, look, squirrel, stay off my porch. If you come back on here again, it's going to be a problem. And squirrel be like, look, I don't mean to disrespect your crib, homie. I just want some nuts and things because I be hungry. If you could leave someone in the backyard, I'll make sure we don't mess with nothing else. If we could talk to the animals on that level, that'd be awesome. Especially we could talk to them in a way where we can talk our language like we talk our ish. Like, look, hey, squirrel, what up, dog? If you see somebody trying to break into the crib, you better holler at your boy. Otherwise, when I catch you, it's going to be a problem. And they be like, all right, homie, I got you. Or if it be like, raccoon, stay out my trash. Otherwise, next time I'm going to blast your way. And the raccoon be like, I don't want no smoke. Just be hungry. Can you leave a couple biscuits in the alley then, so that way I ain't got to be all up in your trash? If you do all that, we good. That type of conversation. Or if you could talk to the deer and be like, look, I ain't gonna lie to you. We don't even want to be on your property and whatnot, but it's food running low in our little part of the woods. If you can find some way to get us food, we'll leave y'all little hookup alone. Or be like, yeah, we just doing that because we know it's about to be a real bad storm and we think we should tell y'all so y'all can get the hell out of Dodge. Or even worse, maybe you have animals that become the ops and get to snitching on the other animals. Like, look, man, I wasn't gonna say nothing, but yeah, when you come outside, that dog to be next door, he say if he get off the chain and you out there, he gonna bite the piss out you, dog. He gonna blah, 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 blah. He out to get you, cuz. Since I told him, can I have a biscuit? Just being silly with it at that point. But no, I mean, it's so many different applications for just talking to the animals if we were able to do so and communicate our feelings and them communicate back with us effectively. Hell, it can go so far as to help us with some of our exploration of the planet. There's many parts of the oceans that we are not able to get to because of the water pressure and whatnot. If we could talk to some of the fish and be like, hey, what's down there? And they'd be like, look, that Loch Ness monster y'all be talking about? Yeah, it's a few of them down there, deep down there. They just down there deeper than y'all know. That's what's been happening to y'all boats and stuff in the Bermuda Triangle. Or, yeah, y'all right, it is aliens. We done seen them too. Who knows what they would have to say to us if we can actually talk to them? It's very, very compelling as to why it would be a good thing to keep working on. I'd rather them work on that than some of the other uses of AI they using to make these fake phone calls and all that and be calling like they know you when they don't know you and all that type of stuff. So yeah, I encourage the use of AI for good things. When it's being used for bad things, not so much. Another thing they've been talking about in terms of AI, I don't have that video available. I couldn't find that one in time for the show. Was where there is a application they want to use AI for to help you watch your children, and particularly your young children. So, like, say you have the infant baby in the room, and your concern is that the baby will roll over the wrong way and the whole SIDS thing and whatnot. If there is an AI application that can detect the motion of the baby and by radar can determine, okay, the baby then moved in a way that's not good, and then alert you to go get the baby. Or if the baby gets out of the crib some type of way, like yeah, baby's out of the accepted zone, you need to see what's going on. Or basically, if you want to make sure your kids ain't sneaking out of the house and whatnot, like, yeah, there's some movement with your child. The little tracker we put on their shirt has indicated they have left the house. Those types of use for AI, them I approve of to a degree. Now, you know, certain things in regards to spying on your children, that becomes a little bit of a tricky subject. I'm pretty sure we don't want to know everything that our child is doing at all times throughout the course of their childhood. Lord knows if you walk in on your child, say less. I don't even want to go there. I don't even want that to trigger nothing on Facebook, but y'all get what I'm saying. You understand where I'm coming from with that, right? Right. Okay, people. So I do believe I may have one subject left in the grab bag. Again, thank you guys for checking out the show. Let me check back with my IG people. Actually, a couple people have tuned in on IG this week. No comments from them at the moment, but if you guys are still there, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you very much so. You can always go back to check out past episodes of I Am Nighthawk podcast as well on the YouTube channel known as Eric Buckner Nighthawk Network Detroit, if you missed this live or any of the other shows I've done. Okay, the last subject we have for the grab bag is Detroit love. As you guys know, the Detroit Lions, the NFL team of Detroit, are currently in these NFL playoffs and are doing pretty well. In fact, we are now a mere one game away from possibly going to the Super Bowl. And because of that, we are getting a lot more attention that we normally do not get this time of year. Now, granted, I don't really think it's enough. And of course, all of it is not always positive, because it does seem like when the subject of Detroit or places of the Detroit ilk come up, people usually have more bad things to say than good. Understand that when Stephen A. Smith talked about it on his show yesterday, and if you've only caught the little clippage of that, where you only caught about some of the things he talked about in terms of the bad parts of the community here and not the whole conversation, please don't do yourself that disservice by just judging what he said based on that small snippet. Listen to the whole statement. He was not dogging out Detroit. So for those of you who just don't like Stephen A. Smith and want some reason to be mad at him, that's what that's about. But no, he actually spoke highly of Detroit. And if you listen to him on a regular basis, he oftentimes speaks highly of Detroit. Overall, it is a place that he likes to come to, he says. And I take him at his word. But all we know, he might have relatives here. A lot of people have relatives here in Detroit from other parts of the country. Because a lot of people over the years moved from other parts of the country to Detroit. And a lot of people moved from Detroit to other parts of the country. So I feel like there are a lot of people rooting for the city. If you take a poll of NFL fans whose teams are not currently in the playoffs, I would dare say the vast majority of those fans, if they had to choose who they wanted to win this year's Super Bowl, are choosing my Detroit Lions. Remember, Detroit is familiar to a lot of NFL fans because on Thanksgiving, once upon a time, there was only one game on Thanksgiving, and that game was the Detroit Lions versus name the opponent. So people are very familiar with the Lions. The Lions playing on Thanksgiving is a tradition that dates back some 70, 80 years. So I think for that reason alone, people are Lions fans across the country. If you notice, all throughout the season, it's been a lot of Lions fans that have taken over a lot of the opposing stadiums. They all don't come from just Detroit, mind you. It's people from across the country that are Lions fans. They want not only the team to do well, they want my city to do well. And Lord knows, I love Detroit. I talk a bit often. I definitely feel some type of way about anybody that has disparaging words to say. For some of y'all who I come to know on some of the other social media platforms, some of the discussions I've had about that with some of you who felt some type of way, that I felt some type of way about you talking about my city. I understand if you are from this city and you know it for whatever you know it for, but as a person who has lived here 50 plus years, I understand there are bad parts of the city known as Detroit, but there are also a lot of good things that happen here and a lot of good people that happen here as well. And I definitely would like more highlights on those things than the bad things. So the fact that the city is doing well and prospering because the Lions are doing well and prospering is something I am definitely here for, and pray that it continues. We will definitely talk about that tomorrow on my show known as the Big Buck Sports Report, where, of course, during the time that we have the Gurus football session, me and the sports guru Hugh Lee, shout out to him, we will talk about the games of the past week and the upcoming games leading up to the Super Bowl matchup. And, of course, got to talk some Detroit in that as well. And we'll do so. And all of that, it's time to call it a show, y'all. We went through the whole bag and did it in less than an hour. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. If you have things that you think I should talk about on this show, because I like to talk about things I'm thinking about, there's something that you are thinking about and want to have a discussion. Hell, if you want to come on the show and talk about it, by all means, hit me up in my inbox on Eric Buckner Facebook or on the Nighthawk Network IG page, which is E Nighthawk. That is E NIGHTHAWK. And of course, if you leave some in the comments on my YouTube channel, you can do it that way as well. And we'll see what we can get done to make it happen. If you got some business or some business opportunity that you would like to promote here in the network, get in contact with me in those outlets as well. Let's see what we can do to help one another, because we want to promote minority and Black-owned businesses, people that have personal businesses that they want to promote. We like to do that here as well. That is what part of this platform is here for. Again, shout out to all of you who constantly support the shows, who constantly watch, whether it's for a few minutes or for the whole time that it is on. We very much appreciate you, and we very much thank you for your continued support throughout these years. Thank you so much. All right, so we got to call it a show. Again, check us out tomorrow night, 9 p.m. for the Big Buck Sports Report, and also for the Sports Gurus football session. Keep in mind, you can also check out the podcast of the Sports Guru. That is the Guru's Perspective. You can find the latest episode of that on Spotify. Under the Guru's Perspective. And also, if you're looking for the audio cast of some of the past shows that I did on the audio, you can now find them on YouTube Music under the I Am Nighthawk audio podcast. Again, that's YouTube Music, I Am Nighthawk audio podcast, but we will try to find more subjects to do on the audio pod as well for those of you that don't have time to check it out. Next week or the next time we are on for the I Am Nighthawk podcast, I kind of want to get into some interesting foods that have come up on my radar, and what are they and why are they, and they don't go together, do they? One of them is a peanut butter cheeseburger. Yeah, we'll talk about it. Anyway, y'all, we about to get up out of here. I'll catch y'all on the flip. This show does have an outro now. Here it is. Deuces. This has been the I Am Nighthawk podcast. A Nighthawk Network presentation. Nighthawk Network, our voices for our people.